2025 CV 133 Andrew Turner versus Abigail Shanks.
Got another microphone missing. Apparently not. And we're gonna need battery or whatever.
That got continued.
Oh, it did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's
The
okay.
other attorney,
Just keep
Scott Daniel notified me that it's a motion for default.
Okay.
And Scott Daniel notified me last week that he had been retained and filed a notice of appearance. And I thought we had called yesterday and said that Mr. Daniel was
Not a
filing an
problem. It was
answer.
continued, so we'll just take it off the docket.
right. It was a motion for default,
Okay.
and she now has an attorney. So
2025 PR 96 regarding the estate of Alveda Hines by Matthew West.
Good morning.
Matt West, Madison County Bar.
I've read through the file. This is just a motion to bring the real property into the estate because there's no assets with which to satisfy TennCare's claim. Anybody here opposing this motion? No opposition. The motion is granted. Well, order. Yes, thank you.
2023 CV 216 to Lisa Hinton versus Stefan Hinton.
Judge, that's here for a final hearing with Ms. Roberts and myself. I kind of filed a quick motion to continue yesterday. I'd like to take that up before we take up the
All right.
final hearing. Mr. Hinton's on Zoom, I believe. He should be waiting.
Bring him in if he's not. All right, Mr. Hinton has been admitted. He has not turned on his camera, but I'll ask him. There he is. All right, thank you.
So, Judge, last time we were in court, you had instructed Mr. Hinton to get a job, which he has done. He has been employed now with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. He's at the training academy now to get post-certified. He had arranged to have today off. He was going to get off last night, drive, get here, do the final hearing, drive back, be back to the academy Wednesday morning, whatever that took. It's in Greene County, Tennessee, and unfortunately, we've had quite a snowstorm. I think they're around 18 inches somewhere there. Normally, they get to go home on the weekends. His testimony would be they got on lockdown this weekend. Their director wouldn't let anybody leave, and that's still kind of in place. Fear is, I guess, if they leave, they'll get stranded and miss more time and have to redo the entire class. It's just a victim of we're a victim of Mother Nature today, and with the snowstorm the way it is, I really don't want to try a case with him on Zoom. I like to have my client present at the table so that I can speak with him. So I would ask that the matter get reset for another day. I've shared with Ms. Roberts a letter from the director of Walter State that I could give to the court. That kind of explains the situation that he's in. It does state that, you know, he's on lockdown as of January 31st. So there's really just no way he could be there. He would testify he actually drove up there in the Montgomery County Ford Explorer, and it's there. He said it was doing horrible in the snow, and he was trying to get out of Montgomery County to get back to the
So according to this, he's going to be basically involved in that until March 13th.
that. I thought he told me last night, March the 3rd, maybe March 13th. Yes, something like that. It does say March 13th.
He will be a student in the training academy from January the 12th to March 13th. And Ms. Roberts, any response?
yes, Your Honor. Again, we were here. Mr. Hinton has a Gore started this case out with an order of protection due to domestic assault. And then he was ordered to pay child support, which he utterly failed to do and had to have a contempt petition came up. Now he's in contempt. This will be, I think, the third stint of contempt where he's failed to pay child support since October. Your Honor, this is a man who left his family, started having a relationship with a paramour, got her pregnant.
This is the one that was the cheerleader.
Yeah, so he started having an affair with his little girl's cheerleading coach, who was friends, that is now utterly destroyed that relationship. And now he's decided, I guess his stepfather, who's here, who's come to testify, who is with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, assisted him, even though he has an order of protection for domestic assault, to be employed as a peace officer. And the fact is, this matter was set at least 2 to 3 months ago. When we were here on, again, his other failure to pay, he lost his job because of fault and just quit paying child support in October. My client has been here with the 2 children without any support with this man. Then I got an email from Mr. Hawley yesterday stating that Mr. Hinton was on lockdown at the training academy, the post-training academy there in the
lockdown is because of weather.
Well,
It seems to say both ways, that he's on lockdown because of the weather, but also then they're asking for him not to be able to miss any further classes.
Well, and that's the thing that bothered me, and why, I was out of the office yesterday afternoon after I got this, and as I read this letter from Director Stansel, it says, due to the requirements of the Tennessee Peace Officer Standard and Training Commission, requiring basic training of police officers, if Mr. Hinton were to miss any training classes during these dates listed above, he would be required to return during the next academy to make up the missed classes in order to become a certified officer. So why couldn't he just do that? He says he made arrangements. Mr. Hawley's office told in an email, Ms. Bobby said he had made arrangements to be off.
Well, I want to hear from Mr. Hawley about it, but it does seem to me that there's a distinction between the weather lockdown, which I certainly understand, considering I took my life in my hand the last 2 mornings and driving on my road, the Ridge Road, which is completely ridiculously in bad shape, and made it here. But that's one thing. The other is, whether or not he can make up these training classes, because I have February the 19th or 20th available to hear this case in its entirety.
Well, and my scenario is, Judge, it's at some point in time, Mr. Hinton needs to quit being the focus. Mr. Hinton left his family, put them in a situation where there was an order of protection. He failed to support his family. He moved on with another one, had another child out of wedlock, came before this court and wanted to have this whole, my client was put their child in therapy. She's the one that's carried them to therapy, done all of the stuff. She's the one that's done without, because Mr. Hinton just needs to find himself. And I
understand that, and I agree.
It's frustrating that Mr. Hinton thinks that he's the center of everybody's world.
Which is why I'm offering you, the weather is one issue, and I do understand that has been a problem. The reason that I'm suggesting it for later in the month is so that we can address those issues, and he'll just have to make up a class.
And what dates were those?
19th and 20th of February. I was supposed to be trying a first-degree murder case that got continued. The backup case was a week-long civil personal injury case, and it got settled. So I have the 19th and the 20th. I've already given out the other dates, the 17th and the 18th. Those have already been given out. So.
I'll make myself available.
19th or 20th. I'd rather do it on a Thursday.
Madras Court.
Yes.
Well, Judge, again, we're ready today, except for Mother Nature.
You should be ready on the 19th or the 20th.
Well, if he's here, and again, this is the problem with not having a client here. I can't turn around and ask him a question.
I'll take a recess in this case, or give you an opportunity to talk to your client. But I'm of the opinion, based on this letter, that he can make up the class that he misses if we're here this case on the 19th. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt about the weather. because it is bad. And it's just a question of whether or not he's, the only situation is, in my opinion, this case needs to get heard and disposed of, and that this is not Mrs. Hinton's problem. It is your client's problem. I'm giving him an opportunity to be heard in person on the 19th.
And I'll definitely address that with you. The concern, of course, everybody wants him to get a job. Everybody wants him to pay child support, wants him to pay spousal support. There's been a contempt filed, and I filed a motion to alter or amend the child support and the spousal support sometime back to have it heard with the original case when he lost his job. We were here asking for, if the court will remember, some additional days of visitation to kind of increase that a little bit, to get some unsupervised and things of that nature. The court put down an order, which I'm still, I think Ms. Roberts has done an order that was due, and I've got to do this one. You did kind of increase that a little bit, but one of the things you told him was you would not give him any weekday visitation because you expected him to go out and get a job. And of course, he's done that. And, if we set this, and I'll talk to him, I'm just concerned that if he misses the 19th or the 20th, based on everything going on now, and he can't do the class, then we're back in the same, we're in the worst shape that we were in before we ever got started. He's trying to correct everything. And if he gets kicked out of the class because of, having to hear that on the 19th, then we're kind of in a worse position than it would be if we would have it heard just 30 more days.
I understand that.
I'd like to have a chance to talk to him.
I've given you 2 days. Case will be heard on one of those 2 days. The 19th would be my preference, but I can do it on the 19th or the 20th. But it's going to get heard this month. So
I have the 19th available. I've got a mediation on the 20th.
Reset for the 19th. You can talk to your client about what arrangements he needs to make to be able to participate. He would obviously be missing classes today to do that. He's not. So now he can go to those classes, and then I would think they will give him the benefit of the doubt to make up a class. According to the letter, he can make the class up and become post-certified. This is my understanding is there is a distinction between having a job working for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department and getting post-certified. What he's trying to do is get it post-certified. There are many officers that work for sheriff's departments around here and police departments that are not post-certified. It's a step forward in his career, but it is not going to keep this court from hearing this case on the 19th. So he needs to make whatever arrangements he can do. It looks like he's shaking his head in the affirmative that he can do that. So I'm going to.
I need to talk to him. Can you do that? Can we just ask him?
Is
there a need for us to discuss it?
I'm setting this case for the 19th. I assume you can make arrangements with your employer or with the training there to be available in person here on the 19th, correct? All right, he's muted, so
Okay, fair enough.
he says he can be here. So the 19th it is.
19th it is.
9 o'clock that morning, and this will be the only case we will be hearing.
Outstanding.
And Your Honor, Mr. Holly accepted the service on the motion on the petition for contempt.
All right. Everything that we've got in this case needs to be heard on the 19th. All right.
Well, can we have the contempt heard at the same time? We kind of have to bifurcate. That's my understanding.
You have to, if it's a criminal contempt, it has to be bifurcated. If it's civil contempt, it can be heard with a divorce.
Okay, I think it's so. I think it's so. I think it's so. All right, thank you, Judge.
Mr. Henry, we'll see you on the 19th. Mr. Holly, if you need to talk to him, you can call him while.
I will. I don't, if he's okay with that, then I don't have a need. I just wondered if he had an issue with it. I wanted to make sure we got.
It's a civil contempt, Your Honor.
Yeah, I thought it was. Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. In the next case,
It's running late.
all right, Christy Thornberry versus Tristan Thornberry is a motion to dissolve a no contact order, and that I'm told Miss Duke is involved in that along with Mr. Holly. So, and I'm told she's running late. So
That's what I understand. I'm kind of texting with her back and forth, but it's actually a motion to amend the 2024 order. It's a handwritten motion he filed again in jail. You've already heard one of them. So it's just a motion to amend that order. It's not necessarily to dissolve the contract.
Well,
Part of the amendment.
Mr. Thornberry, I think, is here, so he's no longer obviously incarcerated. So
He's not, Your Honor, and I had filed on behalf of the paternal grandparents, a grandparent visitation case when Mr. Thornberry was incarcerated. And so that's not part of this. They're not.
Paternal or maternal? Paternal.
I represent paternal. And again, that's not, these haven't been merged, but again, there is a companion case that will be affected by what the court does in this matter. Because again, the
Right.
father's visitation, if it's altered, it affects the grandparent visitation.
Well, let's take it one step at a time, but we'll first of all, I'll step off, we'll take a recess and allow Ms. Duke to, do we know
I'll try to call
where she is? I know she has some issues that she needed to address this morning, so.
her. Said her ETA would be between 9 and 11, so I got, but I'll call her right off the bench.
She'll be here between 9 and 11.
That was what I asked her what her ETA
That's,
was. She goes, it's somewhere between 9A and 11A. She's waiting on some.
That's
doctors,
fine.
so I get it.
Been there and done that,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna give her the opportunity to be here, but obviously it would be better for us to know for sure what time, but just let her know we're waiting on her.
I'll give her a call. Thank you.
It's just, I'm kind of used to just.
Well,
doing it
again,
out,
they'll have to work
know?
around it. I mean, they'll have to carry her to the extracurricular activity and meet you there, you know.
There's not court days. There's not really a good.
2 hours the first weekend,
You
and
know,
the second weekend.
sit and
the
talk
next
about
weekend, 4 hours,
stuff
the next year.
around here.
6. You know, or until she has an activity to do. Okay? Okay?
We'll do this, or by agreement of the parties, basically make it stuck.
Yeah.
Y'all work out agreement, so we're going.
We can even like say, hey, look, this is coming up, and we need our.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we'll put that in agreement. You know, this is agreement.
Your Honor, thank you for agreeing. Ms. Duke is on the phone. Hillary, you want to acknowledge you can hear us?
Yeah, thank you so much. I did not know this was gonna take as long as it has.
Okay. So, Your Honor, if we could, I represent the paternal grandparents. Oh, y'all come on up.
Hold up.
Yeah, y'all just come around here. Kristen, come over there. Miss Christie, you can come up here. Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's not, I gotta.
We're trying to
unmute it.
unmute, so,
Okay.
if we're making a record of it, not working. But
Okay, Your Honor, again, as you know, Ms. Duke is representing Mr. Tristan Thornberry, who is here. He has filed a pro se motion, and Ms. Duke has now been hired. Mr. Hawley represents the mother, Ms. Christie, and I represent the paternal grandparents in a case that's not in this matter, but I filed a grandparent visitation right. And so what we've tried to do is facilitate something, because Mr. Thornberry has not seen his daughter for quite some time. He had some criminal issues that were going on. He's resolved those. I think he's on probation now. And so there's a court order in the custody case about his residential time. So what we would like the court to approve is that in the case between the parents, the grandparents are going to be afforded every other weekend visitation with the minor child, and their son, Tristan, the father, is going to be allowed to visit with the child under their strict supervision. They are going to be eyes on and ears on. He will not have alone time with his daughter during this period of time. One and or both of them will be in the presence so they can hear and see everything that's going on. Mr. Thornberry, the first weekend, he's going to have 2 hours of residential time on Saturday and 2 hours of residential time on Sunday. The following of the alternating weekend, he will have 4 hours. After that time, the third weekend, he will be able to see the child on Saturday from 10 to 6 and Sunday 10 to 6. However, the child is involved in extracurricular activities such as basketball and things like that. If that happens during the grandparents' residential time, they will facilitate getting the child to each and every event. And those times can adjust because she's got basketball practice at 5:30 on Sunday afternoon. So they're going to have to adjust their time. They'll bring her to practice or to the game and doing that. So Mr. Hawley's client and my clients are wonderful facilitators and communicate with one another, and they're going to continue to do that. But Mr. Thornberry is going to be reintroduced back into his daughter's life under those terms. If the Thornberrys, during Tristan's time with his daughter, want to go out to eat, he will not drive with the child. One of them will drive with the child, and the residential time will take place either at their home or at a public other location. Okay, he's not going to be able to take his child to his house. Ms. Duke and him will file the appropriate paperwork. Mr. Hawley, his client, will deal with that. What we're just trying to do is to get this gentleman reacclimated after a significant absence back with his daughter. And so, again, 2 hour, 4 hour, 10 to 6 with that, the times. They'll get the child, they'll meet after the child gets off the bus on Fridays. They meet around 4:30, where my client, Ms. Thornberry, meets the mother. Both moms meet, Granny and Mama meet to exchange the child, and then they'll set the time as it graduates with his residential time. The Sunday time will change from the first weekend to the second weekend to the third weekend.
Okay, everybody in agreement with this?
The only other thing, they're gonna submit to the jurisdiction of the court. They're
Yes.
gonna make sure that if something does go
Mr.
south,
Thornberry, if you'll raise your right hand, let's place you under oath.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall not give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay, hang on just a second. Just a second. They're being sworn. I know.
Mr. Thornberry, you've agreed to act as a supervisor for your son's visits, and I just want to make sure you understand that by agreeing to do that and more or less interjecting yourself, even though you have a pending grandparents visitation claim, you are subjecting yourself to the jurisdiction of this court in this case. The reason we do that is some people come in and they'll say, oh, sure, I'll supervise, and then they get outside of the courtroom and say, well, they can't do anything to me, I'm not a party, and they leave. You're now going to be a party, so to speak, to this case, at least as to supervising his visitation. Both of you agree to submit to this court's jurisdiction for that purpose.
Yes.
Right?
And Your Honor, I do want to clarify that the thing that, again, the child's playing basketball and doing things. And I want to make sure that it's a public event. He can attend, but he can't have unsupervised contact with the child. So, I mean, if he's sitting in the stands, they're going to have to supervise his time with the child. It's not going to be, hey, let me go get you and run and go get you a drink from the concession stand. Somebody's going to have to go with it. Okay, you know, if he has every right to watch his daughter in a public event, but that way it gets kind of dicey when it's like, Daddy, will you run go get me a pixie stick? One of them somebody's got to go. Okay, so that I just wanted to clarify that and make sure.
if there's anything that goes south, they agree to stop the visitation and report that to her or to Miss Roberts in my office. It gets reported to all the parties if there's something that does happen that goes south.
So, Mr.
Everybody's
Thornberry,
gonna
just so
report
that
that.
you understand, we have a secondary lawsuit we haven't merged these together. But by submitting yourself to the jurisdiction of the court, you can be held in contempt of court if you violate the rules. Okay, so that and again, not picking on him, but again, if he comes and says, I'm taking her and there's nothing you can do about it, you have an obligation to take your grandchild and leave, or if he does do that, to report that immediately. Okay, not that he's going to, I'm just using that as an exaggeration to say, you can't do that. And you're submitting yourself to the jurisdiction of the court, and the court comes up and says, y'all violated it, you can go to jail for 10 days.
Like that, call the police, whatever you need to do, reasonable. That's
Not that-
trusting in the paternal grandparents to do all those things is kind of what we're saying. And just for the court's edification, where we're at, we do trust the paternal grandparents to watch over all of this. Mr. Thornberry's had some significant issues. You can read that order, and there's some caveats in it. And, we're going to
I'm
need.
familiar with this case. I've
We're
heard
gonna
things
need
in
some-
it before. So, Mr. Tristan Thornberry, you understand that this is a process that we're entering into to try to normalize your relationship with your daughter. And all of what's going to happen in the future is going to depend on how you behave yourself and what you do as far as trying to normalize it. You can resent it. You can say this is unnecessary, but based on what has happened in your life, then this is the steps that we're going to take so that you can get back to a normal relationship with your child. Your parents are going to help you, but you're going to have to be the one who makes sure that you're doing everything you're supposed to do. Okay.
Sandra.
All right.
And one of the things, again, outside of this, I'm going to get with Ms. Thornberry that order. We're going to put together a list of, what we feel like needs to be accomplished before we can move forward with anything beyond what we've done today. And Ms. Duke and I'll send that to Ms. Duke. She can either work on it or she can file something to say we're being unreasonable, whatever that may be. But that may be for another day.
All right. And I'll approve this order. And if Ms. Duke is drawing it, or are you drawing it, Mr. Holly?
I'll draft this up.
Right.
And everything also will be or by the agreement of the parties between the paternal grandparents and Mrs. Thornberry. So if they need to change anything, they've got a right to talk and do that.
How old is this child?
7.
7.
All right. So you got at least 11 years to before this child can tell you all to go jump off a cliff, and what I want you to understand about that is it is a much better relationship for your daughter if you can maintain this good relationship with the grandparents, even if you don't like Tristan anymore, don't want to have anything to do with him. His parents, apparently, they love it. I can tell you as a grandfather, they love this child immensely and they want to be a part of this child's life. And no matter the fact they love their son, they also love their grandchild. So let's try to keep that relationship between the two of you and that open line of communication so that there's no issues that arise between the two of you. They're a valuable asset. I can tell you that grandparents babysitting the grandchildren is a great thing to have happen. But sometimes, you know, the parents hate the other side's grandparents and there's animosity. So don't let that creep up. I'm glad you all have a good relationship. And Tristan's going to work on getting himself straightened out, and hopefully everything will get back to some sort of a normal situation. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Jade?
Nothing, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was probably the best hearing I've had with Hillary Duke in a long time. So.
It's probably the best hearing you've had with when Hillary and I are both involved in the case too.
Especially with Mr. McCauley.
Oh, no, I'm perfect. Is this going to be up for a little while so that we can pull this off and do an order?
Yes,
I forgot to
we'll leave
record
it
it.
up.
I looked for the other stuff because I had another order to do back from like.
Well, here's the
fall, and
problem.
Everything got erased for some reason. So.
Well, there are other, I mean, I've left things up and, you know, we've taken them down in the past after they've been up for a while because there are other channels that, this is a nonprofit channel that's supposed to be for educational purposes only. Unfortunately, there are other people who download or acquire, if we leave them up, acquire other hearings and then they put them on a for pay channel and they do artificial
And
intelligence.
over 1 million hits on some of this
things.
stuff.
I've seen some expressions on my face on some of these other channels that I thought, where did that come from? And
Absolutely.
apparently I didn't know they could do that to me,
Turn you
nobody.
into a GF.
So anyway, we will leave this one up so you'd be able to download it again. We just don't want to leave things up that might create a problem for
Oh, I
someone.
understand.
So,
Yeah, I appreciate it, Judge. Thank you so much.
all right,
Have a good day.
we're adjourned.